Hi everyone and welcome back to the Crafty Yellow Camper. Today we're going to make another split front card, but today we are using the new Beautiful World stamp set, which has just been released in the new annual catalogue, which went live on Wednesday. This is a stamp set with lots of lovely sort of adventure and images, great for men's cards, also good for scrapbooking if you're a traveller. And it comes with a set of dies which coordinate with some of the images and a few extras as well. So today we're going to use some early espresso ink, and we are going to use one of the large world globe stamps, and we're going to start by stamping that down the middle of our piece of Whisper White cardstock, which is cut at 20 centimetres by 14.3, and this should give us 2 card bases when we're done. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp that directly down the middle. Let's just get rid of that bit of ink on there so I don't smudge it. And then we're going to go in with this lovely feather image, which is from the same set, and we are just going to stamp that fairly randomly down the middle of our piece of cardstock. Okay, that's that. And now I'm switching to some of this, I can never say it, it's Celestial Copper ink. I'm not even going to attempt the name. We did sell this in last year's seasonal catalogue, and unfortunately it hasn't gone over into the new catalogue, but I really love the shimmery effect it gives. And I'm just going to go in with this small compass stamp. Again, just adding that in randomly as I go through. And then a couple of the other very small stamps in this set, and this lovely little squiggle accompanied by this little squiggle, which hopefully you can see. And we're just going to fill in some of the gaps on our piece of cardstock using that. And then this little tiddly one, just with these small stamps, a tip for you is not to press too hard when you use them to stamp with, otherwise you tend to catch the edges of the stamp and then you end up with sort of a halo effect around where you're stamping, which I've caught a little bit off there, but that's fine, we'll be able to cover that up. Okay, so that's that. Actually, I'll just put one up there and one there. Although we don't actually sell this ink anymore, you can still buy it. It's a real shame it didn't go over. The metallic inks are really lovely. Right, now I've gone ahead and cut out some elements using the dies. I'm just going to tip these out here so you can see what I've done. Caught in the corner of my envelope. Okay, right, so I have stamped, I'm stamping by the way in Early Espresso. I've stamped 2 of these little compasses and die cut them. Actually I haven't, I've punched them. The die that comes with this set is a perfect size for the globe, this globe image, just under 2 inches across. This one is roughly it's just under 3/4 of an inch, but I've punched it with a 3/4 of an inch punch, which just gives a little bit of a white surround, which is fine. Okay, and then I've stamped and die cut, so there is a die to coordinate with these, 2 of the feathers, and I've die cut this little ink pot and the swirl, which is very similar to the one that I've just stamped, and I've die cut those out of our new brass cardstock, which is this. It's absolutely gorgeous. You get 2 sheets in a pack and they're 12 by 12 sheets, so a little bit does go a long way. So what we're going to do with these is we're going to add some glue to these, and we're going to add them on just some little highlights onto our stamped panel. I'm just going to close this Early Espresso ink and get it out of the way, otherwise I know I'll get it all over myself. Right, so for this we're best using wet glue because it won't give us any height, and we need to cut this panel in a second. So anything that's on dimensionals, obviously it's not going to be easy to cut through. Okay, so we're just going to randomly add these pieces in. So I think I'm going to go with a feather there, and we need to balance them out so that we've got some each side. So I'm going to put another feather there. I've just managed to stick a compass to my hand. Okay, so we're going to go with a, I think we'll go with a compass there. Oops, a little bit skiddy because glue's come out rather quick. And we're going to go with a compass there. Now, I'm just going to clean this glue off my hands. You can see that round the side of one of the feathers, there's a little bit of glue that's come out around here because the glue came out a bit too fast. Don't try and wipe it off with a baby wipe or anything like that, because you will do exactly what I've just done and smudge the ink. So the best thing to do is to let that dry and then get one of our glue rubbers, which I was hoping would reappear in the annual catalogue. Get one of those on it, and if you've managed to smudge a little bit of ink like I have, because I got glue on my fingers and lent on the ink, and it's a water-based ink, you can use one of these Tombow mono sand erasers just to get rid of any little marks that might be on there. So let's get rid of most of that. Okay. Now I really need to let the glue dry on this before we attempt to cut it in half. So I'm just going to give it a few minutes just to dry off a little bit, and I'm just going to try and get that smudge off there, and we'll get the glue off later with the glue rubber. Okay, so my last little one that I've got is this little fiddly squiggle, which is quite difficult to glue down because it's really quite small. So you need to make sure that you just get the tiniest little bit of glue on it, and again, if any comes out, then we can get it off with the glue rubber afterwards. I know that we don't sell these glue rubbers anymore, but I have seen them on other websites, so I do know they are available. So we're adding in, I think we're going to add the squiggle. We've got a feather there. We'll add the squiggle right down the middle, I think, because then hopefully we'll get half on each card. And then we've got this little brass ink pot, which again I think we will add. Try and add it down the middle. Oops, a daisy, I'm skidding all over the place here today with the ink, with the glue. Try and get the worst off without smudging it. Right, okay, so that's those stuck on there, and then what we need to do is we need to cut them in half before we add anything else. And you can see I've done a really bad job there, and I've smudged the ink. Again, just goes to show that everybody has their off days. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my trimmer, and you can see where I've stamped here. I've stamped some of the copper coloured ink. It just picks up a little bit of shimmer. Now we need to cut this in half at 10 centimetres. So this one panel that's 20 centimetres by 14.3 will effectively make us 2 cards. So we just need to go really slowly to cut through, and then we've got a little bit of those coppery accents on both sides. Okay, and then I've gone ahead and cut a piece of early espresso cardstock. I've cut it, cut our standard A4 if you're in the UK sheet in half. If you're not in the UK, whichever size sheet you use, it's literally cut in half lengthways and then folded in half. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add this panel onto that cardstock. I like making these cards because they're really quick and easy to do. You don't have to be very specific about where you stamp, and you get 2 for the price of 1, which is always good. Okay, so we're just going to even this up onto this card front, and if you can hear any noise in the background, I'm really sorry about that. My neighbour's building an absolutely enormous shed. It's been going on for a few days now, but thankfully he's getting there with it. Right, okay, so that's our card there. You could leave it really, really simple, but what I'm going to do is add a greeting onto it, and I have, again, before time, used our new sort of like a scrumpled paper embossing folder. Let me just grab it and I can show you. Where have I got it? Here it is. It's called Old World Paper, and it's one of our thick, I don't know if you can see how thick that is, textured embossing folders, and it's really nice to give a gorgeous sort of crumpled effect background without having to do that thing where you spritz the cardstock, screw it up and then try and straighten it out. So again, I've gone ahead and I've cut a sentiment that says you make the world a better place, and I'm going to attach that across the top of my card. I haven't really decided where I wanted to put this yet, to be fair. Yeah, do you know what? I don't actually like it there. What's it like across the bottom? I think I prefer it across the bottom like that, so I think we will go with that. So I'm just going to stick a couple of dimensionals. If you're sticking down this textured paper effect with glue, I would suggest using Tombow, because with embossing folders where you've not got a flat edge, the glue soaks in a little bit better. And we're just going to stick that across, and this piece is cut from soft suede just to give a little bit of a contrast, and then I'm going to stick some dimensionals onto the back of the sentiment. Okay, so that's then going to sit on that piece there to give us a little bit of extra height, and as I said before, I'll go back and get rid of that glue later. So that's one of the cards made out of the two, and then for the other one I've got a bit of an assortment of bits and pieces. So there's the card that we had there, and I'm just going to add this one. Now you can see where we've cut it in half. This one's not got a lot of the brass on it, more of it went onto that one. I think I might add a squiggle there later on when I die cut some more pieces. So for this one we're going to do it the other way round. So these were our two pieces obviously that we cut in half. I don't know if you can see that. There we go, there's our two pieces, that's how they join back up. So for this one I'm going to stick the card base that we've stamped again onto, oh goodness me, I really am making a mess with the glue today. Let's get rid of that. Onto the base that I've already cut and folded the same as the other one, and I'm going to line this up. Now for this card I want to have a little bit more sort of bling on it because this one's not got so much. So I have got one of the die cut world elements, and we are going to mount that on the card. And then I've also got another little squiggle, although I might save that for that card actually. Yeah, I think we're going to put that one on there. I've got another little die cut ink pot there. I'm just trying to decide where to put it. Yeah, I think we'll go sort of there with that. So we'll just glue those down. That's the beauty of these cards. You can just die cut yourself a load of bits and then decide where you're going to stick them when you actually get to putting the card together. Okay, so I think we're going to put that one sort of there. And then we're just going to put a tiny little bit of glue on this ink pot. I've got way too much on there before. Okay. I think that could sit quite nicely there. So on this one, I'm not actually going to put a sentiment on the front. What I'm going to do is layer up a sentiment on the inside on this one. So, oh, forgot to glue that squiggle down, didn't I? Where's it gone? It was here a minute ago. Where did it go? Okay, right, well maybe I'll glue that on later when I actually find it, because I'm not entirely sure where it's disappeared to right now. It was there and then it's gone. It'll turn up. I'm probably sitting on it, to be fair. Okay, so there are two halves of that card there. Okay, and what I'm going to do for that second card is I'm going to do a panel. Ah, there it is. It flew right over the back of my desk. Honestly, do you ever get that happen with your dies, where you pick it up, you flick it, you look where you think it's gone and it's nowhere to be seen, and then you find it later when you're looking for something else completely different? Okay, so we're just going to pop that squiggle on there so we don't lose it again. I'll pop that over there, I think. Oh, that'll look quite nice there. You can, of course, always cut the shapes after backing the cardstock onto one of our double-sided sheets, which makes it a lot easier to stick. It effectively turns it into a sticker. So there's our two card fronts there, and we'll just finish off this inner card front. Now, I've used the You Make the World a Better Place, which I think is a really lovely card for Father's Day, and I think that's probably who that card will go to. It's my dad, and I think this time we're going to have Life is a Beautiful Journey. So we'll just open that up. We've got some really nice sentiments in here. We've got Thank You for Being Part of Mine, to go together with Life is a Beautiful Journey. Congratulations on this new beginning. You make the world a better place, and adventure awaits. So I'm just going to line this up, and a quick tip for you to make sure that you've got your stamps straight is to line it up on your grid paper first to make sure it's sitting how you want it to, and then bring the block down on top of it. And I think we're going to go back in with that really nice copper ink, and we're going to put that in the middle. Just give it a few minutes to soak into the cardstock, and there we go. I think it needs re-inking, but you can see it's got that little bit of shimmer. And then just to add to that, I think what we'll do is we will add a feather in this bottom corner and a compass. Get it the right way up, somebody's bound to notice. Okay, it has actually got north, south, east and west on it. It's not very easy to see. And then we will have a couple of little squiggles, I think. That one there, and that one there. Okay, put the lid on that before I cover myself in copper ink. And then all we're going to do, this copper ink does take a little while to dry, so just give it a few minutes before you turn it over, and we'll put some glue on the back of that. Let's hope I haven't turned it over too quick and smudged it. And then we're just going to open out this card. With the darker colours of cardstock, I always like to add a panel inside so you've got somewhere to write. So we're just going to... So this inside panel is cut at 14.5 centimetres by... Oh no, it isn't, 14.3 by 10. There we go. There we are. And that's our two finished cards, made from half of a sheet of Whisper White, stamped in one go, cut in half, a few bits added onto it, and hopefully you'll agree they're quite nice men's cards. Okay, that's all for me for today, and I will see you again soon. Bye.